What's up, guys? It's Brandon from Flesh and Blood Brothers, and today I wanted to narrate for you an article that my brother wrote on his Collision Point blog. This is Flesh and Blood Math Cubed. Bravo, star of the show. Welcome to the Everfest. Have a look around. Anything that LSS has, or MC he has found. We've got mountains and voltage and frigidity shores. If you haven't been high-rolled, you'd be the first. Welcome to the Everfest. Come enjoy the show. Would you like to see some acrobats or the fire-breathing girl? There's no need to worry. You'll need your best. Just nod your head along and he'll do the rest. Bravo, star of the show. Everfest is a tremendously thematic set, at least on the generic side of things. Bravo, star of the show, became the first adult hero to appear in a supplemental set. Deck builders around the world were immediately intrigued by the triple elemental classic Guardian remake with the largest available card pool in the game. Savvy Starvo players quickly found ratios for their 3 elemental suites of cards to activate Bravo's ability as frequently as possible. Many have already put more than a dozen of each element into the deck to trigger Bro Star's ability as frequently as possible. Of course, it's the 3+ cost attacks that really make the deck sing. Knowing LSS, I assumed that Oaken Old started as an Oldhim specialization, but as they tested Starvo, they felt that he needed an additional weapon to really put him over the top, so they opened up this powerful attack. When his ability is active, the above 3 cards each come in for a staggering 9 with Dominate and Go Again. The opponent can typically expect a Winter's Wail to follow the initial assault, but it's perfectly common to also face down an additional 3-cost attack for 7. This kind of volley has usually only been seen from a Briar when channeling Mon Heroic. Naturally, Oaken Old can also be fused to power up even more and add a devastating hit effect. Paired with Crippling Crush, the star of the show can disrupt their opponent while pushing remarkably tall damage. Some top players have scoffed at the bad cards that this Bravo has to play to synergize with his hero ability, but I think there's some wonderful thematic beauty that brings the Tales of Arya set to life. We'll discuss this further soon. For now, let's crunch some numbers and see how far above rate Starvo really is. As many of you have experienced or read, Bravo, star of the show, is a ubiquitous force in the meta right now. His play pattern is very linear, which offsets his high financial cost to play. Few heroes can match the legendary drip that this Everfest hero can show up to battle in. He has access to 3 legendary chess pieces, not to mention a majestic, and the scores of commons, as well as 2 incredible legendary helms. Players can use this calculator to tinker with their deck while determining how often they'll align the stars of Bravo's ability. In testing, I've used Charles Dunn's list from Philly most often, but plenty of other lists have been configured around the globe during the ProQuest season, like Kale McCree's list. So, how does Bravo swing above the average rate of other heroes? As many have outlined, and how I began to explore in my previous Flesh and Blood Math series, a card's value can be calculated fairly easily in this game, as can certain abilities like Dominate and Go Again. Yet with heroes like Briar, Chain, and Brostar being able to unlock these abilities with conditional costs, things can get messy pretty quickly. Break Ground. Pitches for 1, costs 3, attacks for 7, blocks for 2. Let's look at Break Around, an otherwise rarely played earth attack action that is just below rate with an optional filtering effect. The designers count this optional effect as an additional value point for this card, allowing them to subtract 1 point for the defense value. A card like Entangle pitches for 1, costs 3, attacks for 7, blocks for 3, and it has a fusion effect. The former "you may" clause was deemed too valuable to be free on the card, yet fusion, like several conditional class features, as a free out onto cards that feature it, like Entangle above. With a blank text box, Entangle would be pretty perfectly at rate, a scaled up version of Wounding Blow. With the fusion effect, this Elemental Guardian card tells the deck builder how to enhance this card, simply by building with additional Earth cards and having one in hand after paying the resource cost for this card. The player can land a punishing hit effect on the opponent. Bravo Star of the Show entwines the elements of Aria: Earth, Ice, and Lightning. Bravo Star of the Show becomes the first hero to have such a powerful, resource-free, conditional effect that gets to be on the table for an entire game of Flesh and Blood. Bravo's hero ability is virtually a combination of the fuse effects from Entwine Earth, Entwine Ice, and Entwine Lightning. This power is an all-or-nothing opportunity. If Bravo has all the elements in hand, then he can harness each of their energies to empower his next 3 cost or higher attack. Prior to Aria, each of these effects would have come from an additional card. Even the exchange on Bravo, Showstopper, involves pitching a card to access Dominate. However, with Starvo, the balancing factor of his ability comes from the construction that the deck must take on. To unlock all the effects, you need all 3 elements in hand. Of course, this effort is supplemented by the 3 pulse cards. It seems that most builds can achieve this feat just over 50% of the time with the help of Chrono Seeds. So where does that leave our new hero? He's certainly been performing well during the early ProQuest season. Like Briar Chain before him, he seems to be the new kid on the block who's causing trouble for other kids. Let's examine some possible hand configuration. Oaken Old, Heaven's Claws, Frostfang, Autumn's Touch. So Autumn's Touch was recently banned, but people can just use Break Ground or Evergreen. It's just another cost 3, attack for 7, but it blocks for 2 instead of 3. So this is one of the more ideal hands that Starvo can muster. To start, Bravo would reveal all 3 elements from his hand to unlock his ability. Then he has several lines of play, the best of which is playing and fusing the Oaken Old. By pitching Heaven's Claws, we still have the necessary Earth and Ice cards needed to fuse Oaken Old, bringing the attack to a staggering 11, with Dominate, Go Again, and an astonishing hit effect that would strip the opponent of 2 cards from their hand. The 2 cards remaining are an awkward combination for Brostar though. With a combined 3 resources, he can still swing with Winter's Wail and threaten a Frostbite token. However, without an additional card to put in an arsenal to filter with Chrono Seeds, he may be best served by foregoing his second attack to set up for the next turn. I would be very tempted to still swing the hammer if Oaken Old hit and decimated the opponent's hand. So we see here that Oaken Old starts with 7 base power, but it gets +2 Dominate and Go Again from Bravo, and then a +2 from the fuse and the hit effect will bring its total power to 11. If Autumn's Touch or Frostfang had been blue, then Bravo would have had even more options available. With those 2 cards still in hand after Oaken Old, he could pitch the blue ice card to attack, with red's Autumn's Touch for an additional 7 damage to output 18 for the turn. Or, with a blue earth card, he could attack with yellow Frostfang. Not every Starvo runs that card, but on the aggregate, it could be seen as better than Winter's Wail. Many opponents will eat the Winter's Wail follow-up attack to arsenal their 1 remaining card, but if Frostfang would hit, they would lose that card anyway. More often than a fused Oaken Old or a supercharged Crippling Crush, you may see Bravo strike out with a red Evergreen, Autumn's Touch, Break Ground, or perhaps Entangle. However, this Everfest MC can also draw into lackluster hands. Blizzard, Heaven's Claws, Lightning Surge, Polar Blast. For example, the above hand certainly doesn't lack resources, but his offensive output is found wanting. A Bravo staring down this hand would be hoping to filter with Chrono Seeds to hope to find one of those red 3-cost Earth attacks. If that's not possible, or the draw is a flop, then he has to think about some different lines of play. Ultimately, he's going to want to keep one of the blue ice cards to use with Winter's Wail, and an additional 1 card to arsenal. With that in mind, Bravo will be looking to block with the Heaven's Claws and pitch the Blizzard or Lightning Surge to enable Chrono Seeds and Rampart the Ram's Head. Some have said these turns make Bravo function like a non-optimal Oldham. To an extent, I certainly agree with that sentiment. Unfortunately, the tuned Starvo decks can so consistently filter their hands that they end up presenting double-digit damage nearly every turn of the game. There's always going to be that game when the stars just don't align and Bravo starts eating damage while trying to eat up some of the elemental flow for down the line. If only Bravo had a way to swing tempo back in his favor, even when he's not drawing Crippling Crush or Old. If only. And then we come here to Awakening, which has been banned. So, yeah, it used to be where if you were losing, you could play this as an instant and create like 10 plus Seismic Surge tokens, and then swing back with a Crippling Crush or an Old guaranteed for free. But unfortunately, that has been banned. So even with the banning of Awakening, Starvo decks are finding success. Obviously, it just made it to the finals of ProQuest Jersey, but it lost to Chain, which is awesome because I play Chain and I think Chain is cool. So I hope you enjoyed that article from my brother. There is some additional information about lore and stuff related to Starvo, but I just wanted to get into the math and the numbers real quick. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I'll put a link to the blog post in the description of the video. Hope you check out my brother's blog. And we got some more gameplay footage coming up, and we will see you in the next video.